Hi everyone, Russ of Aquariumax here. I think I am maybe a minute or two early, but not by much. I guess I'm 3 minutes early, that's okay. I figured that it would be better to be early rather than late. So I'm in the house, and I know I usually warn you guys a little bit. I try to get some, a notification out there to let you know that I'm live, but I didn't do it this time because today has been a little bit crazy. But we've already got a couple people in the house. Soprano cicada. What a weird dog. Well, he can be weird, I'll give you that. He's a lot of fun. Sorry, still got a little bit of a cough, but I got my water, I got my cough drops here. Sorry, and we'll get through it. Red God of Crimson Purgatory, that's quite a name. Wow, cool. 9 people in the house. Who all is here? Got Javier Verme. Sorry. I'll try to stop coughing so we can actually talk. Carter's Critters in the house as well. Nice. Reptiles and Fish Short. Excellent. Robert Gear in the house. Hello, hello. What are you looking at? The Budgie Twilly seems really interested in something going on, but I'm not quite sure what that is. Thank you. He is pretty cute. Wow. Need to get rid of this cough. He's a funny little bird. His name is Twilly, for those of you who haven't met him before. He belongs to my daughter, but he's a friend of everyone in the family. He's really tame, and he talks. He talks up quite a storm when he feels like it. Not usually on camera. My goodness. I apologize for the cough. I have a cough drop in my mouth to try to prevent such things, but there's only so much you can do. And I'm sipping water. So, happy Thanksgiving to those of you who are celebrating Thanksgiving in the next 24 hours or so. We will be. I should have put on my turkey hat. Didn't do that. Let's see. The frogs are out. Can you see the frogs in the background there? We might take a closer look at them. I do, in fact, own 4 snakes. I own 1 hypomelanistic corn snake and 3 red-sided garter snakes. They're juvenile, so I have a female and 2 males. So, in fact, my video on Friday is going to be about the snakes. Now going Black Friday with $650. Wow! I am so sorry. The Asian forest scorpion just molted. I posted on Instagram the scorpion with its molt, so that was cool. I think it's the 3rd molt that I've experienced with the Asian forest scorpion. It's getting big. It's probably about, maybe this long without the, with the tail extended, something like that. Dragon Udo, hello from Ohio, nice. And also, how did you tame the budgie? Well, when we got this budgie, I've tamed a lot of budgies over the years. So, let's see. They're pretty easy to tame. You got to get them young, is what I recommend, getting them quite young. This one was probably 5 weeks old, I think, when we got it. It's 5 or 6 weeks old, something like that. And got it from a breeder who bred them in his house, a hobby breeder, rather than buying it from the pet store. You can tame them from the pet store, but a hobby breeder who had been handling him and everything, so he was already mostly tame. It took him a little while to calm down, but within, a day or so, he was sitting on our fingers, and within not too long after that, he was very comfortable sitting on our shoulders, and he just loves to hang out with us now, so there you go. And Max Wolfgang, when will the giant Kenyan isopods I got from you be full grown with plenty of food and good temps? Well, that's a good question. The funny thing about giant Kenyan isopods, they can take a while to get to full size. They will be reproducing at much smaller sizes. So the ones that I sent you, I would be surprised if they're not already reproducing, or at least reproducing really soon. But as far as getting big, it might be a year or so, actually, before they get fully sized. And Carter's Critters, they're going to get some new scorpions. Cool. You have any species in mind? Reptile and Fish Short, do you own day geckos? I don't. I would like to. I do have several geckos. There's a cresty right here. We have several cresties. We've got a leopard gecko and a breeding colony, 3 different enclosures of mourning geckos. I have about a dozen juveniles right now and a group of adults that are producing babies for me, about 5 adults, 4 or 5 adults that produce babies for me. So there you go. Those are our only geckos though. I do want to do day geckos sometime, probably giant day geckos and maybe the neon day geckos, the Phelsuma clemeri, possibly some others. I like Lygodactylus williamsi too, the electric blue day gecko. There's a lot that I like, honestly. So I would like to get into that more someday. So Robert Gear, do you have any tips on taming some Coturnix quail? 3 of mine are fairly tame, but the smallest male repeatedly cuts me. Wow. You know, I've never worked with Coturnix quail. I think, yeah, I never have, so I'm not sure. Although, what I might suggest, something that just training and taming lots of different animals that I have done, I wonder if you could do some operant conditioning, some positive reinforcement with the Coturnix quail. If you could find a treat that they really like and will go after quickly, and you can use something like a clicker, you might be able to train them not to do that. It's very possible. Oh, Simply Ben is in the house. Nice to see you here, Taylor. Red Gutted Crimson Purgatory. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you love the videos. And Jay's Crazy Obsessions. The wife hasn't really decided yet, but I think she's going to say no on me getting the geckos. Oh, that's too bad. Well, there are, like I said, I've got about a dozen babies. But we've got to see what works, right? So if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. We'll find a home for them somewhere else. But I hope you can get them. I hope she decides that she wants to have some. And Dragon Udo, you have your Asian forest scorpion. 2 weeks Friday, still hasn't eaten. How big is your forest scorpion? Is it a baby one or a big one? And Diantha Jacques, have you ever been interested in breeding pseudoscorpions? Yeah, actually. I've thought about keeping pseudoscorpions. I really think they're quite fascinating little creatures. And I know there are people who have breeding colonies of them. Is it Cape Cod roaches or is it roach crossing? Somebody's got a colony of them going. They're fairly expensive though, so I haven't really looked into it too much more than that, but I might try that sometime. I know Bugs in Cyberspace sometimes gets an intertidal species in. Simply Beta, didn't you have a neat line of green isopods going? Yeah. And thanks for checking in on that. It's actually doing pretty well as far as producing a lot of isopods. As far as isolating the colors, I am getting some really cool ones in there, some really cool colorful ones, but the consistency in there is not great yet, partly because it seems to be sex-linked, so the males are producing, I think it's the males that look normal and the females they have the color. And so it's interesting to see how that's kind of shaking out. But I also get a lot of others that they start out young, really, really colorful, and as they get older, some of them lose it and some of them don't, and so I haven't figured that out yet. So I don't have the strain isolated yet, but I'm still working on it, and still got some cool things going on with it. So I think there's still some potential there. And Crystal's Pets and Plants. Hello. Reptiles and Fish has a pair of giant day geckos. Awesome. Are they breeding for you? Oh, you've got a lot of different scorpions there, Carter's Critters. Cool. 1,000 babies. Of what are we talking about again? I forgot. I'm trying to follow that up. Sometimes I can't catch all the threads. Sorry, everybody. I'm trying though. Heather Jensen, hello. So 2 inches face to tail, so still pretty young. So yours is probably maybe slightly smaller than mine or around the same size as mine. So still pretty young. Did you hear him say that? I don't know if you could tell. He said, "Excuse me," which is like his favorite thing to say. He just jams it in with other things sometimes. And sometimes he says it separately, but he does talk. You're gonna say "excuse me" for us again? I like it when you say that. It's awesome. You should say it again so everybody can hear you. Oh, 1,000 baby birds. Wow. Oh yeah. Black Friday deals coming up for Pet Hobby. That's something to think about. I think they're doing something over at the Bio Dude. I might check that out because I'm planning on setting up a bioactive enclosure for, hey, I need you to stay with me, buddy. Come here. For our garter snakes. They're not quite ready to go into it yet, so I'm still debating on when I want to buy that. But yeah, good point. Cyber Monday too, for a lot of the online stuff that we like to get. So keep your eyes on your favorite things, favorite websites for buying critters. And Crystal, loving the zebra isopods. Awesome. They are so fun. Dragon Udo, hoping to have one day Armadillidium vulgaria high yellow or magic potion. Both very cool. Let me tell you my experience with magic potion. Very secretive, at least so far. Of course, I only started out with about half a dozen of them, and that never helps as far as them staying secretive. But they really didn't breed for me, and I lost a few of them. I'm not sure exactly how many I have. I have a couple. But yeah, I think the high yellows, as we can get hold of them, are going to be a little bit more active for you and maybe more prolific. But there are probably other people who do great with breeding the magic potions and have tons of them. So I don't know. That's just been my experience. Wow, you're going to buy is that your Black Friday purchase, Red God of Crimson Purgatory? Wow. And Heather Jensen, would you be interested in terrestrial orchid for isopod trade in the spring? Probably, yeah. I actually have a tiny little orchid going on in here, and it's flowering right now. I don't know if you can see it. If we have a minute, maybe we could check it out. It's just tiny little flowers, but yeah, I'm enjoying orchids. This orchid I've had for years, actually. I guess it's the descendant of that orchid that keeps, sending out the pups. But I got it probably, I don't know, 6 years ago maybe? And it's been fun. So yeah, I would be interested in that, I think. Crab, hello. And Grando Reaper. What is your opinion on keeping hissing cockroaches? Oh, and thank you for that. I'm glad you love the videos. I kind of like hissing cockroaches. I've never kept them. I worked with some in an educational collection that I worked with at one point, and I enjoyed using them as outreach organisms, getting people interested in bugs and stuff. I think they're fun to handle, pretty easy to handle, but I'm not allowed to keep them because my wife has asked me not to keep any roaches of any kind, so I don't have any. But if that rule were not in place, I probably would have some hissers for my bug presentations and so on. I think they're cool. So Crab, do you collect insects? In the sense that, do I keep insects in my collection, live insects? Yes, I do. I have quite a few different insects of various types, as well as other invertebrates, arachnids and myriapods and isopods and so on. So yeah, I do keep some insects. I have blue deafening beetles. I have some other desert beetles, like some Eleotis species. What other types of insects do I have at the moment? I often have a mantis or two. My mantis from this year recently passed away. It's kind of the time of year for that. Let's see, what else do I have insect-wise besides beetles right now? Of course, live food insects I have. I raise mealworm beetles and things like that. I'm trying to think what else I have. Insect-wise, mostly beetles, I guess, that I can think of right now, although I have had mantids and other things like that. Oh, you're welcome, Carter's Critters on Arachnivores, no problem. Any opinion of rhino beetle keeping? I think rhino beetles are super cool, and I'd probably keep rhino beetles. I might do that at some point. I never have. And crab, I guess I don't really collect dead insects, but yeah, once in a while I'll keep a preserved one of mine that dies or something like that. I will occasionally do that. So Heather Jensen, how are the larvae doing? They're doing okay. The blue deafening beetle larvae, I imagine you're talking about those. Because I was just talking about those beetles. They're doing well. I think I lost one of them, but then I pulled another one out of the enclosure, so I still have 8 separated out. And there are quite a few of them that are about half grown, and I'm kind of wondering why they're not growing a little faster. I feel like they're all about half of the size they need to be, and they seem to be slowing down. I don't know if that's normal or if it's because of the cooler temperatures we're getting or what, but I'm trying to make sure they get enough food and everything so they'll get big enough to do their thing, start to pupate. I need to get an incubator soon, but they're not quite to that size yet, but they are doing well. Yes, this thing about YouTube changing and the suing and stuff, it's worrying me a lot. We'll see how it goes. But, and Dragonuda, I guess I kind of answered that question too when I was talking about the larvae. The adults are doing fine. I lost one beetle in the sense that it passed away a month or two ago, I want to say, but all the other ones are doing fine. Still breeding as far as I can tell. So, and make it Kate, you made it to alive. Awesome. And sorry, Crystal, to hear about that. That's a sad time for your mantis to pass away. Space Kraken's in the house. Space Kraken actually knows this bird personally, so that's cool. And that is the Budgie talking. Oh, did you notice that I noticed? Yeah, see if you can catch some words, because he really does say a lot of words. Sometimes he'll just jam them in with everything else he's saying. And sometimes he'll say them very clearly and separately too, so you never know. But yeah, just listen to him. He says his name Twilly, and he says Budgie. And he says lots of other things. Excuse me, like I said before, that's his favorite thing to say, or one of his favorite things, one of my favorite things that he says. So how many Titan isopods do you have? Good question. I have a lot. I don't know exactly how many I have. I sold quite a few at the last expo, but I probably have, I don't know, maybe 75, 100, somewhere around there. I don't know, I haven't counted them for a while. And there's some young ones in there, so. Goldfish died 3 years ago. That is sad. We have some goldfish that I've had for, the longest goldfish I ever had lived 16 years, and then I had to find a new home for it because I had to move to Hawaii at the time. But we've got some goldfish now that we've had for about 8 years and one a little bit less. And yeah, budgies, it's funny. Not all of them will talk, but if they get the stimulus, they get the stimuli they need to be able to talk, a lot of them will talk pretty well. There's one on YouTube, you can check him out. His name is Disco. And he talks up a storm. If you want to hear this guy talking, you can check it out in my, my 15,000 subscriber video from a year or so ago, year and a half ago, whenever that was. I got a little clip of him talking in there. I think he says, "Hello, Twilly boy," in that video. And he says it pretty well, too. So, he's usually pretty camera shy, so I'm glad he's doing it now. And Natalia, are death-fading beetles hard to breed like I've heard? I'd hate to buy 2 or 4 and make an awesome little terrarium. They don't make a family. Well, let me tell you, death-fading beetles are not particularly hard to breed in the sense that they will tend to lay eggs and they tend to produce larvae. The difficult part is getting the larvae to pupate, but they seem to have cracked the code on it. And basically what you need to do is separate the larvae into different enclosures when they're old enough, when they're about 2 inches long. And then you need to keep them at 88 degrees, around 88 degrees, at least over 80, but 88 seems to be like the magic number. 88 degrees Fahrenheit, keep the humidity fairly high, around 75 or 80 relative humidity, and they will pupate. That seems to be the key. So you could do it, but you'll need some specialized equipment a little bit, because you'll need an incubator and whatnot. So Heather Gentry, would you ever do an outdoor aquascape pond? Totally I would. If I had the time and the money to do it, I totally would, and I may eventually do that. So, yeah, I would be really interested in doing that. I played with pond construction a little bit as a kid. Take a sip of water to see if I can control the coughing. Really need to. There we go. So, Red God, does your bird ever cuss? No, actually. He doesn't. He doesn't hear cussing around the house, so he doesn't do that. But he does say funny things. Maybe one of the funniest things he ever said is he went and then said, "Excuse me." I thought that was hilarious. So, Vincent Liu, I finally got my first dart frogs after being inspired by your channel. That is awesome. Which species did you get? And Calcanort, good to see you back. And Make It Kate. The larvae are in separate containers, at least some of them. I separated 8 of them out into 16-ounce deli cups and some substrate. So I think that does probably help because they tend to, so I agree with you, it probably is helping partly because they can be cannibalistic. So separating them is a good idea. And I have done that and hopefully it works. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, the death-baiting beetles will be once nicer when they become more commonly captive bred. I think it's probably not going to be commercially viable on a large scale, just because people will, they're cheaper to get in the wild, and so people are not going to put in the time and money to do that, since it takes a lot of time and effort to do it on a commercial scale. But as far as hobby breeders go, if we can get some into the hobby that are captive bred, which is, you know, my goal, I think that will be great. And crystals, that's awesome. You still have your jumper spider. I have one too. I've got a Phidippus audax, a young one, that my daughter found in the hallway recently. So it's always nice to have one of those around. It's a fairly young one. So there you go. And Vincent Tinctorius. Oh, awesome. That's one of the coolest species out there. I hope you can get yours to breed too. Hello, Fishaholic. And Natalia. So you're talking about, excuse me, the deafening beetles? Is that what we're talking about? Oh, really got to shake this cough. Are you done saying words? You can keep talking. People like it. I like it. You can keep going if you want. Okay. Heather Jensen's been experimenting with aquatic plants in bog terrariums. You wouldn't think they would make it since it isn't submerged, but they're doing well. Trying Azolla caroliniana as a ground cover next. That would look really cool. I love the way Azolla works, the way it looks. So I think that would be really cool. And yeah, a lot of those aquatic plants are actually bog plants. They spend at least part of the year partially emergent from the water. So that kind of makes sense, really. And Scott H., nice to see you here. You know, before the live stream, I saw your message, and you're totally right, or Tony is totally right. I need to make sure that on my About page, on my YouTube page, I have my Patreon link. I am just going to bring that up for a second. I'm really excited about Patreon. We've got quite a few people that have joined up recently, and this could be a really good way to help with YouTube issues that are going on, to make sure that Aquarimax is still sustainable and can continue. Patreon may well be part of the answer there, as YouTube changes the way it monetizes things. So I'm really excited about it, and really grateful for those of you who have pitched in with Patreon and have been helping us out. Really excited. And wow, Fishaholic. Nearly 1 a.m. here in Scotland. Can't blame you if you're going to catch up later, but I'm glad you joined in. And at Discord, I've been meaning to look into it a little bit, but I haven't done it yet. But I will look into it. I'm not entirely sure I want to do it, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I do need to look into it because a lot of people ask about it. So Casey Gunter, it is quite a bushy Ficus pumila in there. I regularly, well, not regularly, I get to trimming it whenever I get to trimming it, and sell off the clippings, usually locally. And I need to do it again because you may or may not be able to see it, but there are actually roots coming right out of the lid. It is a mess up there. I cut this back considerably recently, but the lid, I need to cut it back. It's getting too dark in there. And yeah. Yes, make it Kate. I'm worried about it too. I think it's eventually going to shake out a little bit better than we're fearing, but probably not as well as we hope. Did I say that right? Yeah, something like that. But we'll see how it goes. I'm optimistic that we can still make it work. Luckily, YouTube monetization really helps support Aquarimax, but things like the Amazon affiliate links at the bottom of the videos help, and the Patreon is really helping too. So hopefully that'll make sure we can do this. So Heather Jensen, you have parrot feather, myriophyllum, doing well immersed. That's awesome. I think that would look really cool. And Red God, I do have Instagram now. So the Instagram channel is new. I started it this summer, I think. And I do post to it fairly regularly, and it also posts automatically to Facebook and Twitter, or semi-automatically to Facebook and Twitter. And so I'm trying to be pretty active on that. I post several times a week on that. And it's working. Of course, I don't have anywhere near as many followers on Instagram as I do on YouTube, but I have probably, is it 1% of the number? Something. I got like 250, 260 people on Instagram or something. So it's coming along. Luthiel, Thanks for making this channel. Love your aquariums, and you made me excited about making an isopod terrarium. Keep going. Excellent. Well, thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Sean Kellogg. Question about blue deafening beetles. Will they eat isopods? Great question. Alive, they probably wouldn't. Dead, they almost certainly would, because in the wild, a lot of their diet is dead insects and invertebrates of various sorts. So they probably would eat dead ones, but I don't think they're going to chase down the live ones. All right, so Carter's Critters just ordered some stuff from the Bio Dude. That is awesome. I have had great experiences with the Bio Dude. The things that I've used from them, our leopard gecko tankless kit is from the Bio Dude. This light on the dart frog enclosure back here from the Bio Dude. I think one of the lights on here is from the Bio Dude too, not that you can tell because the plants are going like crazy. Okay, I'm not sure how to say your name, Arcadius, but hello. I probably slaughtered that, but welcome. And Casey, the updates on the garter snakes are worth it alone. Well, that's awesome. Friday, I'm doing a major update on the garter snakes, so check it out. I'm pretty excited about it. It's just been fun. I guess major update, what does that mean? I don't know what that means, but I'm doing, the whole video is about the garter snakes, and you get to see them close up and the color and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I will try to put the link in below, Red God for Instagram, but it's just AquariumX Pets, at AquariumX Pets on Instagram, but I'll try to remember to put the link in the bottom of the video too. Carter's Critters. We got some cork bark for torrential and other inverts, a bromeliad for my white tree frog, and a bamboo piece. Cool. Yeah, he's got great stuff, and I love the fact that all the plants that he sells are organic. You know, they're safe. They're not using organophosphate pesticides on them. They're organically grown, which I think is great. So it's pretty awesome. And his substrate really works well for me so far. The one that I've tried, which is the Terra Sahara. For the garter snakes, I'm going to be using the Terra Firma, I think it is. So down the wormhole, welcome. Good to see you here. And Scott H, I'd be curious to know how many of your followers have started an ISO enclosure because of your videos. I know we did. You know, I ought to do a poll on that and find out. Make It Kate, same thing. Make It Kate has videos of the isopod enclosures that she's put together, so you can all check that out too. And cool, Red God, keep you awake, right? And oh, Down the Wormhole also did. I remember Down the Wormhole saying, I think you're going to convince me to do isopods. So I'm glad to know that a lot of you are into the isopods because of me. That makes me feel good that I have spread the good word about isopods to a lot of different people. That is cool. Yeah, really? Okay, oh, you lost a feather, buddy. Look at that. He lost one of his little fluffy feathers. There he goes. Well, I'm trying to catch up here. It looks like, did everything freeze? I'm not seeing anybody comment anymore. It looks like everything's gone, but I can still see myself. I don't know what's going on. Huh, that's weird. Ah, not frozen. Okay, maybe there was just a lull in the conversation, that's okay. That's really cool. Let's see what's going to go on. I'm trying to figure out what's going on that I can tell you all about. There's a lot of exciting things happening in the critter room. What's going on lately? Oh, I think I told you already about my Porcellia magnificus. I just checked on them the other day. Tons of babies in there, which is really exciting. I hope that they continue to do well because Porcellia magnificus took forever to start breeding, and they're finally doing it. Shallow Waters, hi, welcome. And Casey, I would love a bit about lighting as far as what you use and a recommend for certain size terrariums. Oh, that's a good idea. Just kind of do a terrarium lighting and vivarium lighting spot. I think that is a good idea. I've been using a few different kinds. Oh, there's a frog way up in the corner there. That's cool. Probably hungry, looking for food. I gotta feed these guys today. And Austin, hey, I hope you have a good Thanksgiving too. It's gonna be a quiet one for us. We were gonna travel, but we've got some illness in the family, so that's not gonna happen, which is sad because we have a lot of family about an hour away. I've got, not all of my siblings are in state, but enough of them are, and my parents are in the state and so on, so we could have gotten together, but with sick people, we can't do it. It's just not fair to show up and potentially make a whole bunch of people sick. So that's sad. So Dragon Udo just gathered a bunch of oak leaves and boiling them for my future ISOs. Awesome. Oh, and Natalia, Porcellio magnificus. It's a large orange isopod. They get like this big and they are orange naturally. And they're called Porcellio magnificus. And Red God, I should do a feeding. I will do a feeding soon and make it, Kate, you're right. It is also, the snow is getting kind of crazy, so that's probably also the case. That was a consideration. I just kind of forgot about it because I was thinking about the sick. But you're right. The snow is going to make it prohibitive anyway. I have to quit the live stream in just a minute here. I'm just about to the end of it. But I will do a live feeding in the next one. Do you have a request on what I feed? I can try to see if I can do that. Stick that in that video. And Casey also did an isopod enclosure because of this video. And cool. Well, I think it'll be good because we'll relax and we'll have fun together. My son's back in town from school, so we're glad to have him here. That'll be really nice and fun to have him. So, yes. And I do have one orthoporous millipede, but it's just someone gave it to me because I didn't have space for it anymore. So I don't have a lot of experience with it, but but I am keeping it, so there's that. And okay, well, it's just about time to go, everyone. So happy Thanksgiving to those who are celebrating it, and to those who aren't. I hope you have a lovely week and weekend. And Noi Aquino, love your stuff. It's helped me out with multiple species we have in common. Awesome. Glad to hear that. And everyone, please check out my garter snake video coming out on Friday, and have a great evening.